recording. All right. So we started in front end. We started our CSS discussion, and with that understanding that of course most of the things you guys know, but we have just talked about some of the things, and um, and I got feedback that there were a few things that were not that much clear or that much discussed. So you just found few things new. So we talked about that CSS is all about rules, the styling rules, which has a selector, which has a declaration or the rule that you define. Then we talked about what are the type of selectors, and that was quite interesting. We say that if we use the tag name, it's type or tag selector. If we are defining a style by using a dot, a period, it's called class selector. If we are defining a style by using hash, the number sign, it's ID selector. Good morning, John. Good morning, Muhammad. And if we are making a contextual selector, by means something inside something else, we say contextual selector. That would be quite interesting, quite important. Then we talked about grouping of selectors. We can group multiple selectors together. And then we talked about, so again, we are still having those who are joining us, we are having an informal sort of review. And then we talked about where to put this CSS. And so we saw that there are three places where we put CSS in, and it can be inline, it can be internal, it can be external. So that's we have talked about. And external is the one that you guys have used a lot, and you're used to of it. But anyhow, internal is one way, and whether you find it irritating or whether you find not very good, but again, most of the times you will be needing internal CSS as well, and that would be quite fun. And at times you will be needing inline as well, because it goes in this sequence that external style is overridden by internal. So we have the time hour, we have reached to the hour. So I'm starting a formal review now. So welcome back, everyone. So we started CSS and we discussed, some different things, and we saw that external CSS, the style is overridden by internal CSS because it is defined in the head, and then that style is overridden by inline. So at times you might be needing that the style that is there in our style sheet or internal style sheet should be overridden by some new style. So you will always use inline. Then we started talking about the units in CSS. What are the units in CSS? How do we use them? And we just saw them that there are different types of units. And then one thing that I did not, I think, mentioned over here, but we did that. And that was, I think, the use of fonts as well. That web fonts, how to use the web fonts. We can bring them in a style sheet like this at import, and we can just do that one. Okay, so today this is our week 4. So I'll just make a new folder here and I'll call it week 4. So now we are in week 4 folder of our, and here I would just create a new file, and um, let's say notes.txt, some notes, and we will be just having those notes. Also, I'll create a folder, and I have this habit of creating a folder called pages. Inside pages, I'll create index.html. And inside pages, I'll also do one more thing. I'll create a folder and I'll call it styles, because I would always keep this different. In a style file, I'll create a style.cs. So this is all housekeeping stuff. I have pages folder. Inside that, I have styles folder, which has a style sheet, and I have an index page. So I'll quickly do this boilerplate HTML. Let's conclude boilerplate HTML. Not only that, I would like to link my style sheet as well. And how would we do that? Link href is equal to, in my styles folder, you will find a sheet style.css. And why not? Let's run this page as well, because I want to get everything set up, because we are about to start a very interesting topic that would be a fun topic, because in CSS there are a few things that are really fun. So our file is running here, and interestingly, I'll just show you that how to check whether the style sheet is working with us or not. What I'll do is that I'll go to my style.css, and I just always do that. Check my CSS. So I'll say background color blue. I always do that, blue. So you see, it means the style sheet is very much connected to my file, which is again, I've done very fast this one because you all know this process, and I'm just repeating that. So now style sheet is connected, and I don't want this very bad blue color. But what we want is that I'll just start talking about that. So let me just close week 3 things so that they are not disturbing us. This is also week 3. This is our week 4 things. So notes. Today I want to talk about called article tag and how you would use it. Okay, Jennifer, I'll definitely talk about that. In styling, I'll talk about that, right? Article tag. So so today we will just talk about first of all, we'll talk about box model. Box model in CSS. Now, what is a box model? I hope you guys know that in HTML, rather, let's come back to our document and let's make something over here. And I'll make a heading. I'll write H1 CSS box model. So we are discussing box model. So I'll just write rather, rather than notes file, I will make the notes over here as well. So we are creating a CSS box model, and we'll just talk about that. So let's paragraph. Box model refers to dash, 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 dash. I'll talk about that. So what is CSS box model? Box model refers to that every element in HTML is actually referred as a box. That box has different features, different properties, and I would like to show those properties to you. So let me show you. Let me show you. And I think you guys would know that, and I would need a quick feedback that you guys understand this box model. This is called CSS box model. So what is that? Is the term box model is used while talking about the design and layout. The CSS box model is essentially a box that wraps around every HTML element. Every HTML element, remember, every HTML element is considered to be wrapped around a box, and that box has certain features. What are that? It consists of certain things. And what are those certain things? It consists of margins, borders, padding, and actual content. And the image below actually refers to the box model. So I'll just talk about that, but I have a quick question. Did you guys discuss this box model like this with having a picture and understanding what is content, what is padding, I need just, okay, that's you guys have discussed that one. That's wonderful. And that's wonderful. So, that will save a lot of my time because, wonderful. So, that would give me a good chance of discussing some other important thing. Now, thing that I want to discuss over here is, of course, since you guys have discussed that one and it was very nice. The thing that I want to discuss over here is that I would like to show you this inspector tool, and I like to show you that how this box model is represented in the inspector tool. And I would be happy to know that if you guys can let me know that you guys see, I start use HTML center tag to make the main box centered on the page. If there are a way to avoid while getting the same. Yes, yes. Mitchell, I'll just let you know. There are lots of other way arounds. But Mitchell, I have another question right now. That do you guys know that this box is also present in our inspector tool when you are working on your tags and elements? Because I would like to work this on box model on this, on this inspector tool rather than my, first of all, like in inspector tool, then I'll go to so do you guys know that the box is basically represented over here? Now let's talk about something. And as you guys know, okay, Daniel, that's wonderful. So as you guys know that we have got, that's called content, the middle area, like, the most centered area is called content. And the area above content between border and content is called padding, which is transparent. Then we have something called border, and then we have something called margin. Now, let's come back over here. And let's select an element here and see that how its box is represented. I'll just show you that. Sorry, just I clicked on that one. Just a second. Elements is here. So now if I click on this one, CSS bar. So you see right now it is showing me the box of H1, which has a display property of block, font size 2M, margin block start something, something, something. It has a lot of styles over there. Now the thing that to mention here is that if you see that it has a margin of 21.40 on the top and 21.440 at the bottom. Do you guys see that when I click or when I hover over this margin, I see that in my page as well. My page shows this like light orange or purple, like in light yellowish or orangish or whatever color, whatever you call it. So this color is basically shown to represent that this is actually margin. Now, if I want to know that how would it behave if I come here and I say margin 0, if I do margin 0 and check that one. Now, when I did margin 0, do you see that like this line has disappeared, this one, and now my box is much different. If I just if I just uncheck that one, you see box is looking very widespread over here. But when I just apply this margin 0, the box goes over there. So margin is basically the space of the element with others. That's a very, very important thing. The space of this element, like the space between the different elements. So this element has a margin of 0. Now let's talk about the other things. There is a border. Right now there is no border. You see 0, 0, 0, dash, dash, dash. Now if I say I want to have a border over here, you would have used that border, of course. And I say 1 pixel solid black, for example. I can apply border like this. So now there is a border represented. So what is border? Something after the margin, but before the padding and contents. Make sense? Now, so there is now a 1 pixel margin, 1 pixel border on my content. And I don't know, it looks good. Like, I wanted to have a border around, and it has a border. And I can see the box over here that it has 1, 1, 1. Now here comes a very important part, padding. There is padding is 0 right now. You see padding is 0 right now. But what about if I come here and I say padding, and I say, for example, 5, let's say 10 pixel. If I say 10 pixel padding, you guys see that my content has gone bit breathier inside the box. Why? Because I have applied a 10 padding on all sides. Make sense, everyone? Now let's talk about the content, the blue side. The blue is 362 in width and 37 in height. Does not look good. I want its width to be smaller. So I'll come here and I'll say width is equal to, for example, I would say 200. Let's see. Let's do that. 200 pixel. Do you guys see that it is looking very small? I want to have a like that. Now now you see that. So I have applied these 3 properties, and my box now looks very different. And please remember this orange line which is coming. It is not the margin, but just because it has to just fill in everything. That's why it is just showing there. Now my H1 has a 0 margin, 1 border 1 pixel, padding of 10 pixel on all side, and width of 250 pixel on width of 250 pixel of its content. And I can understand you guys make all sense of it. Hopefully that I can about that one, because I'm about to discuss something different. Now I have made its margin 0, and even I can come to the paragraph. And if I say the paragraph should also have a margin 0. So this will all be temporary, because when I'll go to so paragraph has also a margin 0. Now you see the contents have gone very near to each other. Right now, here comes a point. Do you see that still there is some margin coming around this? Why not it is sticking up to the body of the document? Can anyone tell me why it is not sticking to? Because I have said margin 0. Why there is a little margin over there? Looks like there is some margin over there, which when I select H1 does not show any margin because I have removed that. Which when I open paragraph, there is no margin because paragraph also has a 0 margin. But can anyone tell me why this CSS box is not stuck to my, sticking to my top of the document? It's not sticking to the top of the document. Can anyone let me know why it is not sticking there? Any idea? Though I have, again, through this temporary method, I have removed these things, but still my box is not going sticking to the top. Or if I ask another question, how would I be able to stick it to the right top? Like, it should be sharply attached with this right top or left top, whatever. Anyone, any idea? Okay, let me tell you. Actually body. If I click on body, Patrick, I'll talk about that one. But you see, Patrick, here, body. Do you see body has a margin of 8? Do you put it in the head? No, Janiel, I'm not sure I'm making sense of your question. Do you mean that this just to stick it to the top? No, 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 never, never. It will always be in the body. Never take any content in the head, because head has just one content that is visible. No, see here, the body has 8 margin. So you know what I'll do? If I come here in the body element, I've selected body element. If I come here and I say margin 0, now do you see that my box is completely sticking to the top? Jennifer, do you see that? You understand what was happening? Actually, body's margin was stopping it from sticking it to the top, because body also has a default margin over there. So you see that now my box and everything is being basically connected to that one. So you guys understand that one? This is actually, now we have got. So this margin padding issue is very interesting. Now the last thing before I will move to the file and I'll show you. Okay, Patrick, no, not a problem, not a problem. So now if you come over here and if you see here in the browser, does it edit your file locally? No, 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 Ellen, that's not at all, because it is just that one. Yes, so Mitchell, that's what I'm about to tell you, right? How would we do that? So basically, Ellen, it's just temporary. When I hit refresh, every style will go away, and I'll do that refresh. You see that everything has gone back to the original. All the margin padding is all back, because this is all temporary. Now, how can we make it permanent? If I go back to my document and I come over here in style.css and I say, for example, h1, and I say margin 0. If I say, for example, what I did was border. So if I say border 1 pixel solid red, and what I say is, for example, I say padding, and I would say 10 pixel on each side. Now, if I just do that, and I'll show you this. Now, if I just do that, and I'll close that, because now it will be permanent. If I hit save, you see now this is. So for example, I say a width 250 pixel. If I hit save, you could also have copy and paste it from the browser, what you have done. Yeah, I could do that. I could have done that. Yes, you're right. But Alan, I just, I just deleted that. You are right. I could have copied and pasted. So now it will be a permanent thing. Now, again, you know that I had to remove the margin of the body as well. So I'll come here and I'll say body margin 0. Let's do that. Looks like good. And what Mitchell has said, and I'll talk about that. Now, how many of you know what Mitchell is talking about? Mitchell says that I always do this at the very top of the document. You know what this is called? And I'll talk about that. This is very, very important. And I have to actually discuss that one, because that would really give us a good sense of thing. So you also could have. Okay. So now if I just show you that there is a very interesting thing. So if I come here, I'll take this here, because code looks good on the left side, and this looks. Oh, that has gone. Okay, so now look at that. So I want to show you something interesting. I have an H1 with CSS box model text refers to, and I have given the width of 200, right? So I'll give one more H1. Rather, I will not give H1 only. I'll give it with a class, with an ID. So I'll say H1 hash For example, S1, the style one, S1. It has an ID of S1. So I'm writing again CSS box model. Same thing I'm writing. I want to show you something that Mitchell is referring to. And I take away the paragraph for a second because, I want to show you something interesting. All right. And how about if I, for the time being, if I take away these styles as well, there is no default, there's all default styling. But what I'll do is that I'll just give a border. Rather, let's do that. Just I'll leave the border. Okay, I'll leave the border and I'm just removing the body margin is equal to 0. And I'm just saying that margin 0, take away the margin 0 and take away the even the padding as well. Yes, width and these two things I want to leave, right? So I have just H1 border 1 pixel solid red and width 250 pixel. Everything makes sense of it? Now I have another H1 with an ID of S1. So I can define a style with S1 because ID S1 is there. And I say border 5 pixel solid green and width 250 pixel. And I give another thing. I give padding here. I give padding of 20 pixel. Look at that. What I want you to understand, which Mitchell has mentioned. Mitchell, I'm coming to your point. Even though both of these H1s, one with the ID S1, one without ID, both have the width of 250 pixel. Do you guys agree? Both have the width of 250 pixel. And but if you look at the output, both look very different. This CSS box model looks very big. This box model looks a bit smaller. Can you guys tell me why it is happening? Even though the size is exactly the same, 250 pixel, 250 pixel. But this box looks bigger and this box looks smaller. Wonderful, wonderful. Tina says it's padding which is doing that. Anyone else? Not only padding, it's also, border. You see, yes, plus padding plus border because the padding border. Exactly. And Mitchell, now I'm coming to your point. If you want to make all the box sizes constant, what we do is that we apply a universal style in the beginning of the document. And on that universal style, we say all the default margins should become 0. It's basically, resetting everything. All the default paddings should be 0. And box sizing should be border box. What does that mean? You will look at the difference at the right side. If I hit save, what happens is, what this border box sizing does? It actually says all the width, all the padding should be now include all the border and everything should be included in the box. Box should not go away from its width, 250 pixels. Do you see both of the boxes are of same size, though they have different features? Did you guys understand the reason of this box sizing border box? It has made margin 0 and padding 0 of everything. But then box sizing border box has done what? That every box will remain of the same size, regardless how much border I have applied, regardless how many padding I have applied. Valentine, Manny, are you guys understanding that one, Tina? Because you see that this is actually the purpose of using this resetting over here, that we want to have this border size exactly the same. Wonderful. If you guys understand that, that's a wonderful thing. And I'm really happy about that. Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, so this was about this one. Now, I hope you guys know about one of the interesting aspect of it, and I'll talk about that one because we are talking about. So border can be applied to either sides as well. I can say border top. If I say border top, look what will happen to my this second one. The border top has become 250 pixel and the border, the normal border is coming as red 1 pixel, which is over there. I'll just, what I'll do is that, for example, for the time being, if I comment this out, just to comment that. So this CSS box model, the S1 has just a border top. We can make border bottom. If I say bottom, it will just come at the bottom. Not only that, I can do bottom right. It will just go to the right. If I say bottom left, so it will just go to the left. Make sense, everyone? This is one thing that I wanted you to understand. On top of it, I should show that in here because that will quickly give us. On top of it, there is one another interesting aspect. If I come here and if I come to my this H1, like or we first H1, for example, I'm in the first H1 CSS box model top one. If I come over here and if I do something like this, I say padding, and I see right now that it has a 0 padding, right? So if I say I can give padding values in 3 ways. If I say 10 pixel, all 4 sides 10 pixel. All 4 sides padding is 10 pixel. Do you see that? All 4 sides 10 pixel. No, I don't want all 4 sides. I want 10 pixel and 20 pixel. Now, if I write 10 and 20, two values, look what happened. 10 has become top and bottom, and 20 have become left and right. So the values goes like this: top and bottom, the first value, left and right, the next value. One another way of doing that. Now, if you still don't understand, we have got another very interesting one. If I say 5 pixel, 10 pixel, 15 pixel, 20 pixel, I want to show you something very interesting. I can write 4 values as well. So when I write 4 values, look at that. Top, right, bottom, left. So remember, it goes like, in that clockwise fashion. Top value 5 pixel, right value 10 pixel, bottom value 15 pixel, and the left value, yes, clockwise rotation, yes, and it goes 20 pixel. Does that make sense? So actually these 4 values, they represent that top, right, bottom, left. The clockwise rotation is there. Yes, you're right. So this is for everything, also for margin. For example, if I just say, okay, padding is, just keep the default, like, as a constant padding. And if I say margin, and margin, I say 10 pixel, 20 pixel, 30 pixel, 40 pixel, or 40 pixel, So if I just do that, so you will see that now I have this H1 has the top margin 10, right 20, bottom 30, and left 40. So there are multiple options that we can just do that, and this is very, very interesting. And we will be just talking about that one. All right. So now let's move forward. Let's open this up in our document. And then we have some other properties, and one of the property is basically, there are lots of properties, and there is a property called display. And there is a display property, is a very, very interesting one property, because we use that for some times. And there is a position property. And then I will just start talking about another very, very important thing over here. And let's make it over here. And I'll just take this away, because I was just making this understanding to you. So we are talking about the CSS box model. So now I'll just talk about um, something called flex box model. Have you guys discussed this flex box model? Flex. In the display property, we have display, and if they flex, it becomes a flexible thing. Okay, Katrina says no, because if you have not discussed that, that would be quite quite a very interesting thing to discuss, because that would be, and I'll give you. So flexbox model is a very, very important and interesting model of CSS that is used to make responsive web pages. Many, you'll see that you'll really enjoy that one. So flexbox model or flex model does what? It actually lays down our elements in a fashion that they occupy different type of spaces, and we just use them to apply different kinds of things. So for example, let's start talking about. Let's come back over here and let's write. For example, I write a main, and inside that I would write, for example, inside this main, I write sections. So I write 3 sections, section multiply by 3. So I have 3 sections. I'll give first one as S1 ID because I would be applying some style. ID is equal to S2. ID is equal to S3. Now, so I'll just give a heading as well. Section 1. Section 2. And the third one is section 3. Right? And oh, ID is equal to S1. I have defined one S1 ID. So it is just taking that ID from there. So I'll just, for the time being, I'm commenting the previous one, just leaving the margin and things like that, right? Again, every margin and everything is gone. We have made that 0. Anyhow, let's talk about that. So we have 3 sections over here. I'm talking about the Flexbox model, right? So we have got a main element. So what Flexbox model says that I want to apply some style to this main element, right? I'll come over here and let's apply some style to main element. So it's a tag selector. So I'll just write main. So I say, for example, I'll come to the main as well. Then that I have an ID S1. So I'll just talk about S1. I want to give that one. So for example, I would say, rather, let's give this section because I want to apply something to everything. So section, so border 1 pixel solid green. So every section should have a 1 pixel solid green border. And maybe let's apply some padding. And I say 5 pixel of padding. Looks good. And let's leave out the margin because I'll talk about that. So this is section. Section means every section has now applied to this style. Now, those styles which are common, we always apply them together in one of the element. And those which have which do not have, which they are unique features, we apply them with the ID or something. That's something that we usually do, right? So now let's talk about this one. So I say when I come to main, if I say display flex, now see here, display flex, not flex, display flex. Look at the right side of my output and I hit save. Display flex property has first of all made all 3 sections in one line, even though they were coming one after the other, but they have all come in one line. Interesting. What display flex does is that it makes the elements flexible which are in a container. Remember, they have to be in a container. So I am applying the style to this container, which is main. It has 3 things which I want to apply flexible on. So I apply the flex display on the main. So I say main display flex. Are you guys getting that one? Now, interestingly, I have 3 elements over there inside S1, S2, and S3. So now I said common styles are here, but now I want to apply some specific to S1. They'll come over here. And if I say flex 1, so flex display model, and if I say flex 1, look at my output. Flex 1 means that section 1 will occupy maximum space on the page. Maximum space on the page. Okay. If I come to S2, default S2, I come here and I say flex 1. You should also occupy 1. So you see here now. Now my 2 sections are occupying maximum space available. Are you guys getting that one? It's just like we have divided our screen into 3 sections. If I say S3 and I say flex 1. Flex 1. Now you look at that. Very interesting. This has become now a responsive something. Let me show you. You see that 3 sections are visible like this. When I start squeezing my page, you see, you might not see the squeeze, but you will see that they are occupying, according to the screen, they are occupying 1 portion. Many, are you getting that one? So if I apply a display flex on that one, yes. So, now it is occupying 1 section. It's become responsive now. And now you keep on stretching it or squeezing it. You will always find that one over there. Wonderful. Rest everyone is understanding. Valentine says it's off, like, awesome. I hope everyone understand that one. So now it has made these three sections very interesting. And can you vary it with the rest? Yes, exactly. Vary means what I understand is that you want to say, for example, if someone occupies more than the other, maybe is that what you want to say? So now if I just come here, for example, if I say flex of 2, so it means I have divided the screen into 4 sections. And now if I save that one, so look at that, look at that. Stephen, yes. So Stephen, you see that now it is occupying one portion of the screen. Section 2 is occupying two portions of screen. Section 3 is occupying one portion. So I have divided my screen into 4 portions now, ultimately. So I hope that you guys are, but what I'm about to tell you, it it's a super cool, but I'm about to tell you something very interesting. I'm just making it 111 because I'm about. So this display flex has different properties. One of the property is uh, um, align content. Now see here, align content. That's very interesting. If I say align contents, and if I say, for example, rather before align content, I'll show you something interesting. If I come here and for every section, if I give a width, for example, width, and I width is, for example, 100 pixel. Let's see if 100 pixel looks good. Yes, but they are occupying the space. So now I'm just doing something right now. I'm just making this S1, S2 comment because I want to show you something. Now you look at that. So these three are of 100 pixel each. Like the size should be 100 pixel. Why not make it 150? Okay, they are of 100 pixel. So 150 pixel. Now I've not applied the flexible, so they will always remain the same. Remember, because I'm about to show you something. Now it has a property called align contents. Align content. And if I say yes, flex end. If I say flex end, if I hit save. So now what we are saying that actually, these contents should be aligned at the end of the flex content. So main, for example, this is the main. And if I let me just do that. If I just come here and I say width 100%. Okay, so if I come over here and I show you something, if I say flex or I say space between, space between. If I say space between, um, okay, let me see if if I apply a border to this one, main. Yes, so I've just applied a border to my that one as well. And why not? Let's make it. Yes, let's keep it yellow. Now I'll just show you that over here. Let's see the Flexbox model over here. Here, W3 schools. Look at that Flexbox model. Flexbox model is that before the Flexbox model layout, there were 4 layout used. We used to use block, inline, table, position. You would have used some of them. But now we have got to start using Flexbox model, you need to first define a flex container. So you should have a container as I made the main container, and then I've made 3 sections inside that one, right? So if I just, flex container. Now, if I go to the next, there's a very interesting property. So this flex container has display flex, and it has justify content, align items, align content. They are all the features over here. So if I just say flex direction column, it will go to the column, right? Though by default they are coming like this one, but they go to the column. They will go to the column. And if I say flex direction column reverse, it will be just reverse. If I say column flex direction row, flex direction, flex wrap property is there. I can just wrap it around. And there are lots of properties, but the property I want to talk about this one. This one I want to show you this here. You see here, it's the flex container. Justify content. I was just using the wrong property. Justify content. If I give justify content, let's come back over here because I was just making the wrong feature, and here is that. So if I come over here and if I say not align content, justify content, and I say flex end. Look at that. The elements go to the end, and I'll take away the border because I was just making the border. You see, elements will be aligned to the end. Make sense, everyone? And if I say flex start, can you use flex model with image? Yes, exactly. Even everything. You see, it comes in the start. Now here comes very interesting one. If I write space between or space around, for example, space around, look at that. Look at that space around. And now they are flexible also. If I just go here, you see they will keep their positions. Yes, exactly. Space around. Now, if I just come here, if I say space between, if I just hit save, look at that. Look at that space between. The first one will go the very start, and last one will go the very, and they will maintain a space between. Now, the last one, space around, space between, and space evenly. This is very interesting. Space evenly. Look at that. The difference between space evenly. Now, even space is applied on all four sides, all three sides. Did you guys understood everything? I hope you guys understood. This is space evenly. This is space around. And by the way, don't worry, I'm about to give you a very interesting thing that you will really enjoy that. This is space around, and this is space between. If I do space between, could you add padding in the space between? Yes, Stephen, we can, but generally we don't do that, Stephen. Generally, we don't do that. You know why? Because this is the flex model that it takes care of all these paddings and margin by itself. We should not be too much worried about the padding and margin while we are using flex, because flex is taking care for us. You see, flex is itself increasing the margin, flex is itself decreasing the margin, and doing all those interesting things. Stephen, you got it? We generally do not do this, even though we can do that. By the way, let me just show you. Let me just show you, Stephen, you have a question, and so now you see that I have done space between, and now I have this one over here. Now, as Stephen said, for example, you want to say that S1 should have a margin on the left. For example, margin left, and margin can also go to the either side. Margin left of 10 pixel. Let's do that. So, let's see that it might not be applied or something. Why? Because again, as I said, Flexbox will be taking care of those things. Are you getting that one? So for example, if I just, make it. So margin or padding, you can apply the padding, by the way, but margining is usually handled by the Flexbox model. Now here comes a very, very important concept that I want you to understand. Not understand, you will really enjoy that. Write down Flexbox in your Flexbox Froggy. You'll really enjoy that one because most of my students, they say that this is the best part of the class. So Flexbox Froggy, this is a game that teaches us how to do this flex boxing. Mitchell, you will really enjoy that because now what it says, for example, this flex this frog, we have to take it to the lily pad. Now, how can we take that? It says that hash pound display flex. Now write the property of justify content. Justify content. Yes. So I have not used that zombie, justify content. And if I just come here and I say, for example, flex, or maybe I say space around, and I check that one. No, it is not the correct one, right? So if I come over here and I say flex end, you see, now it has reached to that one, and I have now the next level, and I can go to the next level. If I click on this one, oh my God. If I click this one, now I've reached to the second level. What justify content I'll apply that those two frogs will reach to their position. I'll just do that one as a, so I'll do the easy one. So I'll just write justify content and let's say center, for example, center, and that's good. They've reached to their lily pad. Are you guys getting that? And it has 24 levels. If you go 24 levels, and it has given the theory as well. You can read out the theory and you can always do that. So, Justin has shared Flexbox Zombies is also there. I've not used that one. Let's do that. Flexbox Zombies. Oh. Right. So you have used that one. So here, So crossboard, display, flex direction, row reverse. So it's also it should be. I've never seen that. You can just have a look at that one as well. But I would expect you guys to just go through some of the level. Yeah. Yes, you're right. So you can always learn with Flexbox, like Flex Froggy, and you can always learn that by using that one as well. So that's quite an interesting thing. Right. So now I'm about to just start something so we have talked about this Flexbox model, and I would really recommend you guys to just go and play this game, maybe this one or maybe the zombies one. And as Ryan has said, and as Justin is saying, maybe that might be much better than that one. So again, you just try it out, whatever works for you, and try to learn this by playing the games. And it's just like the playing the game and learning the concept. And here is the concept that they have given over here. And here you can also check quickly, because that's something that you can always do. That the center, if I say space around, I can see the difference what is between a space around and everything. So this is basically over here. So Vijay, your daughter is gonna be expert of Flexbox after some time, because she'll be reading out the contents and solving that out. So space around is this, and if I say space between, if I run that one, so you see space between makes it that like that. So you can learn this Flexbox model a lot interestingly better. Right. So this is Flexbox model. I hope that you enjoyed this Flexbox model, because it is something that you guys have not discussed. So it's a good time that we have started this one. And I would really recommend you to use this in our, as someone was asking about the images. Yes, you can use that in images as well. And that would be quite interesting thing, because you want to have your images in a flexible manner. You can just use that flex, but always remember the theory behind it. You need to have a container. That container should have some elements inside that you want to flex out, that you want to flexible out. So if you see here, like they have used that one. So if I just make this one, you see that it's going flexible. It just goes to any level when I just start spending that one. You see that it just is displays that one. And again, you remember that I told you that if you make it one, as we have done that, so if you make it one, you will see that it will be interestingly doing what? It will be occupying one space always, and it will be just settling itself up with that one. Right. So this is called like Flexbox model or Flexbox, that you guys are going to use that one. So any questions thus far? Because I feel there's another topic that I want to start, but I think I'll start it next class, because that is a bit lengthy one, and it will take some good amount of time. So did you guys understand this one, everyone? And I hope that you enjoyed this. Just wondering what you mean by container. Do you mean the section? Oh, that's a wonderful. That's a very good question. Even when I say container, it means that there's a very important one. For example, you see here, to your question, section 4. Now, what I want to say is that even these three sections are actually inside one container, which is main. This section 4 is outside of this container. What happens is that actually we apply flex model to the container itself, which contain like whatever element we want to make flexible of. We make a container and put them inside that one. Even does that make sense? So for example, right now, this section 1, 2, and 3, they are inside the main container. I'm calling it container wrapper. Exactly. And by the way, you know that if I just come here and I say div, makes perfect sense, because now div is a container. So container, exactly. Container means you should never be, because I have not applied the style for div. So container means that I'm talking about that you have to have this something that is basically that is wrapping around like parent child. Yes, someone is right. And now you see that even if I cut this section from here and I put this also inside the main container, you know what I mean? So that section 4 has also become part of it, but the difference is they will occupy the maximum space, 1, 1, 1. It will not occupy the one space because it does not have a one being applied or any ID being applied to that one. Even does that make sense to you? The concept of container. Container is generic word, very generic word. It's not an element, it can be any element. And yes, in the beginning, someone asked about, I think, article. I'll just, talk about that one as well. So, article generally, in general sense, let me just show you. How does it use the article element in HTML? I'll just show you what is the specific purpose of article, even though you can use that. So what is HTML article tag? Look at that. Article tag specifies independent self-contained content. It's just like, I have 4 articles on my web page. So one of them will be having its own section, its own everything. So article tag, an article should make sense of its own, and it should be possible to distribute it independently from the rest of the site. So it should be a separate thing. So potential sources for article elements are forum post, blog post, news stories that you want to put that as that one. The article element does not render as anything special in a browser. Remember, article is a semantic element, so it does not have any UI meaning. That's an important question. I think, Jennifer, you asked a question or someone asked in the beginning. So article, what is the difference between article? Yes, Ellen, that's a very important question. Very important question. Article is something that is independent, self-contained content. While as Alan, main is not an independent content. Main has to be the main area of some article. Of some, so again, what can happen? This is a very interesting question, and I think you will get the answer. I can write an article over here. That article might have a header, intro, for example. That article might have a main, the main contents. Alan, does that answer your question? An article may contain a main section inside, because main refers to some main area of some semantically, related area. I hope I'm trying to make a sense of. So again, it might be the case that you say, okay, I have 2 articles. I have 2 articles on my page. One of them contains a main article, and one of them contains something over here, but does not contain a main. So do you understand? And how about the main? For example, you will say that my whole document should be a main. So main should be fit inside contextually where it is used. Article can be an independent source of something. Ellen, are you making sense? Main is contextually dependent on this article, but article is not contextually dependent on anything else. We have to use this in the QAP. I see there are examples, but not sure. Oh, Jennifer, it's completely up to you if you want to use that. It's not required, but it's good to use as much as semantic elements as you want. Ellen, I did not get your response. Did you get the idea of main and article? Article and independent entity, main something within something representing the main content. Okay, I see a raised hand from someone. Okay, so main can be whole document, including headers and everything. Article, exactly. Alan, that's wonderful. I see a raised hand. I think someone has by mistake raised, or if you have a question, you can always ask. I think someone has raised the hand by mistake, I think.
I got a question.
Okay, that's, sorry?
I got a question.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
If you have multiple container, right? And how would you create a flex box for each container to be different? So does it mean that you also have to create, like, you have, say, for example, you have 4 different containers. Do you have to create 4 different flex box for each container if you want to differentiate all 4?
Yeah. That's a wonderful question, Manny. And yes, I would like to definitely answer that. So Manny, right now, if you see here, for example, I have this one container main, I have this one container article, and this another. So I have 3 containers, so to speak, over here. How about I put another container of div, and I put, for example, this everything inside div. For example, let's put everything inside div. So Manny, just confirm me. Here, since I have just only not rather, I have this main element, and that has 3 sections inside that. This main has 3 sections. So I came here and I applied main display flex. Now there is an issue. There is a very important issue now. Now I have used the main element over here as well. So when I will apply style with the heading tag, with the main tag, actually it will not only be applied over here, it would be applied over here. Somehow it will try to accommodate over here. Why? Because the style says main. Every main should have this style applied. Are you getting my point? Now, what we usually do when we have multiple containers, we usually do is either we go with an ID and we give that, for example, links, something like that. Now, now you know that this main is recognized separately and I can just apply a style to ID links and this main won't be affected. Now, I have two articles. Articles also, I'll just go here and I might want to give them an ID. This is very important. And then say art1, article 1. I want to give this second article an ID and I say ID is equal to art2. Now, if I want to make a flexible of this article, let me show you the output as well. If you want to make this article also flexible. So you see the first article has an ID of art1. So I'll go here and I'll just come here and I'll say hash art1 display flex. I would be needing your feedback when you see this and you understand that. Do you see that it has made this one like intro and the main, they have come in the same line. And now what I can do is that I can just apply another one, justify content, and I say, for example, flex center or flex, not flex center. Let's make it center only. And I make center. So because right now, the article's length is there. So for example, or space between, something like that. So, it is basically doing what? It has made these two elements as the content of the, so if you have to apply this, some flex to this one, you will use the IDR2. So in summary, I want to summarize that. In summary, actually, it's not that if you have to apply display flex to any container, you'll have to catch that container by its ID. So now if you see here that right now I've just given the main container and ID. So now it will be applied to both of them. So inside main also. So if I show you something, because I've not made anything changed. So if I make a paragraph here, and if I make a paragraph here and I write something here and I write, and for example, another span here and I write something here. Do you see that I have something, and you see that they are also being, flexed out. Why flexed out? Because I have in my style given main to the flex. Rather, now I would like to say, no, not the main, because main is at different places. I have, for example, name for that one. What is the name I've given? Links. So I'll say just go for the links and make it flexible. So look at that. When you look at the output, it has gone flex, but they are they are not basically being flexed or something like that. Make sense, Benny?
Yes, sir, it does, sir. Thank you.
Okay, not a problem, not a problem. Anyone else having any questions? That's very good. When I get a question, I'm really happy, because that shows that you guys are understanding. So notes has nothing. So maybe we can just left out, because everything is there on our page. So I'm stopping here today and I'm just making, and everyone please bear in mind, because someone sent a question about that one. So whenever we are done with the class, I always do this commit, and when we do this commit, hopefully everything gets updated on our GitHub. So everything should be there. Maulana, thank you very much. If you don't have any question, you can just maybe put a message and leave, or if you have any question, I will be happy to answer.